about your man Louie. Yeah.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Eagles, Rams, Week 15. What in the hell was that? Can somebody explain to me what the hell I just watched? For the second time in about 3 weeks, we discounted an NFC East team against a major NFC powerhouse, and we were wrong. Now, the one that happened 3 weeks ago when the Cowboys beat the Saints on a Thursday night, not that big of a surprise to me, honestly speaking. I wasn't that shocked when it happened. I told anyone that would listen how good the Cowboys defensively were and that they were capable of doing something like that. This, however, not the same thing. All right, Saints were on the road. Cowboys, one of the best defensive teams in the league, if not the best defense in the league. Although with their performance today, you're not quite sure if that's the case. But granted, these types of games happen like the one happened to them today. That's not what happened tonight, though. Tonight, you got a team with the second-string quarterback, although you could argue old St. Nick back up to his usual tricks, as usual, pulling all kinds of Christmas gifts out of his bag, helping the Eagles win games they have no business winning. Here we go again. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. All of a sudden now, could you imagine if the Eagles would have won against the Cowboys last week after winning tonight, what the whole landscape of the NFC would look like? I mean, would you, for a second, just think about if the Eagles, instead of being 7-7 right now, are 8-6, and because of a win last week, now are sitting atop the NFC East division? Are you kidding me right now? Like, how different would the narrative be? Look out for the Eagles. Here they come. Like, even with the win tonight, I'm still not buying what they're selling. Although, I will say, I'm like, remember, I sat here, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, when they beat us on Monday Night Football, and said, look, don't worry about the Eagles. They're not that good. All right? They're going to lose to the Rams. They're going to lose to the Texans. They may beat the Cowboys. I'm not sure about that. But they're not going to beat the Rams on the road, and they're not going to beat the Texans at home. Well, they easily could have beat the Cowboys last week. And look, that was family business. You know how that goes. Then, tonight, they show up in the first half, and I'm like, man, they're putting up a hell of a fight. But in my mind, I said, this will all come to a screeching halt in the second half. The Rams will run away with this game, and they will distance themselves from this Eagles team that is decimated by injuries and, oh, by the way, being led by Nicholas Foles. Fast forward to midway through the third quarter, and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is this? Am I in the Twilight Zone? I've seen this shit before. Okay? Nicholas Foles going into L.A. against a high-powered Rams football team, leading his Eagles to a victory late in the season before going on a massive run to help them win the Super Bowl. I'm like, I don't think that's what this is. But God damn it, what the hell is going on out there? Nicholas Foles showing up again, doing the improbable. The Eagles weren't supposed to win this game. Now, unlike the Dallas Cowboys a couple of weeks ago when I gave them a chance to beat the Saints, I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought it was capable. Wasn't a surprise to me. This was surprising. I gave the Eagles no chance in hell. You got no chance. That's what you got. You're up against a machine too strong. They weren't supposed to come out with a performance that lasted this long. Puppets. You find your place in line. They were supposed to find their place in line and take this L tonight. And somehow, Nicholas Foles shows up. All of a sudden, never trust a man with two first names. Alshon Jeffrey shows up out of nowhere for 8 catches, $160. Now, it came at the expense of one Zachary Ertz. But hey, who's counting, right? Right. So, anyway, they're down to their 19th string running back. And it seems like this time of the year, Eagles fans cry, bitch, and moan about, oh, we don't have a running back. But yet, Wendell Smallwood shows up to the rescue, scores a couple of touchdowns. And next thing you know, the defense, which is down to their 97th cornerback, shows up with some big plays. And they're winning the game 30-13. I had to wash my face and get my mind right because I wasn't sure what the hell I was watching. Like, is this the right score? Is this the right game? 13 points? That's all you can muster against this Eagles team that let Dak Prescott throw for 454 yards last week? What are we talking about here, folks? It's 30-13. Halfway through the third quarter. What? What? And it's not the Rams dominating. It's the Eagles on the road. I get it. I've said this a number of times. No team in L.A. has a true home field advantage. The Chargers don't have a real home field advantage. The Rams don't have a real home field advantage. I've said this a number of times, but still, the Rams were 6-0 at home coming into this game. The Eagles were supposed to be dead. Dead, I tell you. I put their ass to bed last week. Tucked them in nice and tight. Gave them a kiss on the forehead. Read them a bedtime story and said, lights out, Eagles. And as I walked out of the room, I turned off the light. And I looked in and I said, don't let the Rams and the Texans bite. And I shut the damn door. These bastards got out of bed. They're jumping around, having fun, and they're still not asleep yet. Will somebody put the damn Eagles to sleep? Well, it wasn't the Rams. Well, Texans, you're up. Good luck. Apparently, with Nicholas Foles at quarterback, you're going to need it. And that's how we start this show. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Eagles get the improbable 30-23 win. Never thought that they would somehow win this football game. And for those of you who thought the Rams were going to come back and somehow make this miraculous comeback similar to what the Panthers did to this Eagles team, could you imagine if the Eagles didn't blow the Panthers game, if the Eagles didn't lose the game last week, where this Eagles team would be right now? Unbelievable. Anyway, they found a way to win the game. They're now 7-7. I looked at the Seattle Seahawks, and last week I declared the Seahawks the number 5 seed in the NFC. They were done. They were good. They didn't have nothing to worry about. Then these dumb bastards go and they lose to Seattle or San Francisco in San Francisco. Who knew? The NFL has been crazy down the stretch. Now these jokers are 8-6. Nothing is guaranteed to them. They're one misstep next week on Sunday night versus the Chiefs at home away from being on the outside looking in. And goddammit, they deserve to be on the outside looking in after throwing away, similar to the Denver Broncos. You can't beat the 49ers in San Francisco, and give Kyle Shanahan some credit. Nick Mullins and the cast of characters that he has on offense are getting it done. And I told anybody that would listen to Kyle Shanahan, you say what you want. Goddammit, Kyle can coach up some offense, man. I told your ass, look out. And he's doing it with some mixed match parts. And Seattle, latest victim. And yeah, it's family business. I get it, but not San Francisco with Nick Mullins at quarterback. Hey, man, it's not safe out on those streets. All right, it's a lot safer at home. At least that's what I thought for these Rams. And they got caught napping at the crib. So, NFC playoff picture not decided by a long shot. Neither one of the current wild cards could finish as wild card teams when this thing is all said and done. I thought for sure there was only really one spot up for debate. And after watching the Cowboys, their ass can get out too. Now, they're going to right the ship next week at home versus Tampa Bay. I'm not really worried about them fixing what was broken today. But you never know. You know, Buccaneers could show up, show out. Cowboys could all of a sudden start stinking up the joint. And next thing you know, the Eagles are licking their chops. Redskins, I'm not going to start talking about the Redskins because they stink still. But hell, look at this Eagles team. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. Panthers got a shot to move a little bit closer to the Seahawks, move a little bit closer to the Minnesota Vikings, move a little bit closer to getting into the postseason. Shit is crazy, man. It is crazy. Well, one less team to worry about, the Green Bay Packers. They packed it in for the season. Shout out to the Chicago Bears for wrapping up that division. Never in a million years would I have thought the Bears. And after this loss, the Bears one step closer to a first-round bye. One more loss by the Rams, coupled with a finish of 2 more wins by those same Bears. And now the Bears, all of a sudden, yes, the Bears are sitting there with a first-round bye, and the Rams, who dominated the action for the better part of 2/3 of this season in the NFC, could be on the outside looking in of a first-round bye. And not only on the outside, they would have to go outside, either to Chicago or go to the Dome. Either way, it's not a good look for these Rams. They better fix it, and fix it fast, because Jared Goff looks like trash right now. Speaking of which, let's start with the Rams. Normally, I start with the winners. To the victors go the spoils. But look, the Eagles are 7-7, okay? And Nicholas Foles, yes, I'm disrespecting you like I always do when Nicholas Foles is under center. I'm going to continue to disrespect you with Nicholas Foles at quarterback. So, I'm going to push you to the back burner and say, sit down, shut up. I'm going to talk about the Rams first. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the Eagles. Yes, they did win this game. We're going to do it in reverse order tonight. Jared Goff, remember once upon a time when he was in the MVP discussion? Remember after that Chiefs game and I was sitting here talking about, man, look, I know it's Mahomes. I know it's Breeze. I wanted to throw Gurley in there. I wanted to throw Aaron Donald in there. And I was like, yo, don't forget about Jared Goff, man. We've watched him a number of times this year on primetime television, that shootout with Kirk Cousins on a Thursday night. Flawless. We've watched this guy in a number of situations light it up. And we're like, whoa, yeah, watch out for this Goff kid, man. And I was like, yo, man, there's a real debate to be had between, because, you know, I'm a Wentz guy. Always have, always will be. And I said, look, man, there's a real debate to be had. Maybe the Rams got it right. Maybe they took the right guy first overall. You know, and I had a Rams fan come on and say, there's no debate. There's no debate to be had. Jared Goff is the best quarterback of that draft class. Wentz isn't even close. And I said, okay, cool. Sounds good. You're up right now. So that's the hot thing to do. You know, kind of say it's not even a debate. Wentz coming off of an injury. Goff is shredding teams right now. Yeah, it's hot. He's hot. That's the hot thing to do. That's the hot take. It's not even a debate. Fast forward 5 or 6 weeks later, and Jared Goff looks like a different dude. You know, you take away 1 or 2 weapons. Todd Gurley's a little bit hampered by a knee injury. Change a couple of offensive linemen in and out, and all of a sudden, hey, Jared, what's good, bro? He's like, what's popping, man? I'm like, yo, what's up with these picks, bro? What's up with these turnovers? I don't really know, man. I don't know. You know, we've been really fortunate the last couple of years to be pretty healthy on offense. Injuries starting to kind of hit, starting to bite a little bit. I really don't know how to act. A little bit of pressure in my face, not really comfortable. You know how it goes. Yeah, I know how it goes. Do you know how it goes? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. It's amazing now, all of a sudden, a little bit of pressure being applied. Now, I told anybody that would listen, I don't give a damn what your name is. Put a little bit of pressure in your lap, on your doorstep. See how you react. You saw Brady throw that stupid-ass pick today, right? Right? We've seen Roethlisberger throw his fair share of dumb-ass picks. Pressure does some things, man. I don't give a shit what your name is. We watched Drew Brees throw a back-breaking pick versus the Cowboys in the final moments of that game when the Saints had a chance to still win. Threw the ball right to a corner. Who the hell was he throwing the football to? Don't ask me. Don't even ask Drew Brees. He doesn't know. You know why he doesn't know? Pressure. It does some things to you, man. Scrambles your eggs a little bit. Jared Goff looked like some pure tea shit with some pressure in his face. All right? That one throw where it was a low snap, looked like it was a run play to Gurley on 3rd and 1, gets a little frazzled, gets up, pressure in his face after trying to pick up that bad snap. Bro, at that point, you just got to eat it, bro. What are you doing? You know, what the hell are you doing? Next thing you know, ball is floating around and he's trying to throw it. Now the Eagles got an interception. Bruh, what are you doing? Might be a totally different game. You don't do that dumbass shit. If you just punt there, maybe the Eagles don't score that last touchdown to get them 30. Maybe they get stuck on 23. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Who knows? But when you do dumb things, bad results generally happen. And with Gurley being a little bit banged up, hey, look, man. Look, man. There's not a lot behind him. And, you know, they talked about the depth or lack thereof on this Rams football team. I don't necessarily buy that excuse that they don't have any depth. Their depth is just young. It's being tested. This is the thing. When you have young players that you're relying on in the Rams, look, when you're spending the money that the Rams are spending on all these talented football players, you know why they can afford to do that? They're not spending a lot of money on other guys. The backups, they've got to take a hit somewhere, all right? When you're spending money on Robert Woods, you're spending money on Ndamukong Suh for a one-year rental, when you're renting L.A.B, when you're renting Marcus Peters, when you're renting all these players, when you go out and rip up Brandon Cook's old deal and give him new money, all right? When all of these things transpire, when you give Aaron Donald the richest contract for a day in NFL history on the defensive side of the football, when all of these things come together, you've got to take a hit somewhere, all right? And the Rams chose to take a hit with depth. At that point, they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have young backup players. And there's nothing wrong with that until they actually have to play. Rams have been relatively healthy the last 2 seasons. Well, those injuries are starting to catch up with their ass. And now these young players have to come in and play. And there's a big drop-off between a veteran in this league that knows how to get it done and a rookie that has never been in this spot before. And so you're seeing a little bit of the residue from that. But I still think this offense is going to be just fine. I'll tell you where the biggest problem is. All year long, we've been giving this Rams defense a pass. Why? Because they've been outscoring teams. Hey, man, look. Rams defensively stink. And I've told anybody that would listen all year long, like, hey, yo, bruh, this Rams defense is pretty trash. But they've got some big names up there. And in crunch time, if you don't block Aaron Donald, he can make a difference. Suh can make a difference. All right? In a crucial situation, they've got a player they just traded for from Jacksonville. He can make a difference. We saw on one night that Samson Webcam made a difference against the Chiefs. A couple of big defensive plays. Like, they got dudes that can make a difference in a spot here or there. But for the most part, you can put 30 on the Rams. No problems. Little to no resistance from that defense. At first, I tried to blame it on L.A.B's out. Once he comes back, they'll be okay. They'll be fine. I don't know about that. But like I said, we were all willing to sweep it under the rug because even though they were giving up 33 on defense, the offense was scoring 41. So it was okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. The offense will take care of it. Hey, they gave up 37. Don't worry. The offense scored 50. They're good. We won't even worry about the 37 points. No, they gave up 51. Don't worry. The offense scored 54. They're fine. Don't worry about it. But what happens when that offense isn't scoring 33, isn't scoring 38, isn't scoring 41, isn't scoring 48 or 54, they're scoring 23, but the defense didn't get the memo and they're still giving up 30. You run into a problem. So, look, I know the Bears game last week was cold as shit, and the defense for the Rams actually didn't play half bad. Mitchell Trubisky, a little rusty coming off the injury, didn't look all that sharp. The Bears did just enough. The defense for the Rams didn't look all that bad. Fast forward to tonight, they could do nothing right. L.A.B did have a big pick to keep him in the game when it looked like this shit could get really out of control. If he didn't make that interception, this thing would have been a blowout. But he made a play. But they still gave up 30 on defense. Granted, the offense had some bad turnovers and put them in some tough spots. You still gave up some drives tonight. All right? Still gave up some plays. So, I said all of that to say this. Gurley's banged up, and without him, this offense isn't the same because they run so much play action fake off of that stretch that if Gurley's not out there selling the run and you're not biting on that, then that play action fake, which they run more play action fake than anyone else in the league. Higher percentage, highest percentage of play action fake is run by the Rams. So a lot of their shot plays, a lot of those chunk plays that they get, that 18-yard comeback on the sideline, that 20-yard dig route over the middle of the football field, all those chunk plays you see, they come off a play action fake. And if Gurley isn't healthy, I'm not really buying that, man. I'm not really. John Kelly's in the backfield. You running that stretch with John Kelly? I'm a little less reluctant to bite on that. I'm good. Go ahead and give it to him. I'll see what he can do. So they've got a dilemma on their hands. Gurley was their leading receiver and rusher in this game. That's a problem. You know why that's a problem? Because teams are saying, you know what? I'm going to make you be patient. I'm going to dink and dunk this thing. There's no more Cooper Kupp out there to hurt us, to stretch the field vertically, to do the dirty work. We're going to make you kind of earn this. You know what? You're not that different from the rest of these teams in the league that struggle to go on 13-play drives without a penalty, without a batted ball, without some kind of miscue. You're just like everybody else. Early in the season, you weren't. You were a machine. Now, go 13 like everybody else to see if you can't F it up somewhere along the line or not F it up. Defensively, they're doing the same shit they've been doing all year long. Now it's just catching up to them. And now everybody's paying attention because the offense isn't scoring 35, 40, 45 now. It's different. Now that the offense can't rev it up, and now the defense has to be accountable. And they've been doing this all year long, so why do you expect anything to change now? We'll see if they can get themselves out of this funk because this is not the time for it. It really isn't. This is not the time for the Rams to all of a sudden not be able to score points, not be able to create turnovers, not be able to get – and now teams are saying, hey, look, somebody other than Aaron Donald, never trust a man, ever, with two first names. Somebody else has got to beat us. It won't be him. And speaking of Aaron Donald, this is why he can't be the MVP. And I figured it out last week when I watched the game versus the Bears. And I think it reinforced itself tonight, that position of Aaron Donald can't be your MVP. Why? Because teams can take him out of the game. A quarterback, you can do your best to take Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes out of the game, but they have to touch the football on every snap, just about. They have to touch the football. So although they can have an off game, they still are going to be a huge part of the outcome of the football game. Aaron Donald was a non-factor tonight. Why? Because the Eagles said you're not going to be a factor tonight. That's why. Same thing the Bears said last week. And that's why he can't be the MVP. Even though he's playing lights out and deserves recognition for what he's done, he can't be the MVP of the league. That's why. Anyway, let's get to the Eagles. Big win for the Eagles, man. I almost don't know what to think about this Eagles football team. I still think that they're dead. I still don't see them as a playoff team. But, look, they're a different team with Nicholas Foles in the lineup. I don't even know what that means right now. Like, are you telling me Wentz, they're not better off with Carson Wentz? No, I don't believe that for 1 second. But I can't put my finger on it. It's almost like this team believes in Nick Foles more than they believe in Carson Wentz. And when you've won the type of games that Nicholas Foles has won for this team, I get that sentiment. But remember, before Wentz got injured, he was the reason they were believing. Like, he started this whole Eagles, they're a dangerous team and they could beat anybody thing. Remember, they were like 11-2 or whatever it was when he got injured last year. And so he was the guy that gave them the confidence, and then Foles kind of piggybacked off of it, took it and ran with it. And so I'm not going to subscribe to this team's better with, Nicholas Foles at quarterback nonsense. But what I will tell you is Foles plays with a different degree of confidence, and he plays with a different level of recklessness. He plays with a recklessness that only can be played with by a backup quarterback. One that's like, hey, look, I really don't give a shit if I throw an interception. I don't care. What are you going to do, bench me? Who you gonna put in the game? I'm the guy, all right? You put Nate Sudfeld in the game? No. All right, so he's playing with a level of recklessness that lends itself to taking some risks that maybe Wentz doesn't take. And I'll tell you another thing. Even though Ertz was having ridiculous numbers this season and he was going to set the record, I don't know, he may not set it now without Wentz being in the lineup, but he was going to set the record for most receptions by a tight end in an NFL season. But that was becoming somewhat of a tell in this Eagles offense. You knew crucial situations, they wanted to get the football to Ertz. Like, it was almost like nobody else was playing on the football field. You know, Alshon Jeffrey wouldn't get enough targets. I said the same thing about Dallas's offense, and I think maybe this game against the Colts would be a wake-up for them because it's getting to the point now where it seems like Dak is only looking for Amari Cooper, and they're forgetting that Cole Beasley is on the team and other guys can make plays. You almost felt like that with Wentz and the Eagles with Ertz. Like, you do know that you went out and got Golden Tate, and he's a guy that can help you. You do realize that Alshon Jeffrey, never, ever trust a man with 2 first names, was a big part of what you did last year and that he can make big plays for you. He is on your football team still. Granted, he missed the first 6-7 weeks of the season. He's back now. You know, he's been back for quite some time now. You can throw it to him. He can catch. He can make some plays. And they would forget about these other guys. You know, Nelson Aguilar was like the breakout player of the year last year. Where the hell has he been this year? He gets like a target a game. 1 target a game for 17, and then you go back in your little cubby hole somewhere and don't make a peep. Foles spreads the shit around. Now, I don't think Aguilar had that many touches tonight either, but he's more likely to get targets with Foles in the game than he is Wentz. 8 catches. I think this offense runs a little bit smoother because teams are looking for Ertz to do damage. What they're not worried about is Alshon Jeffrey. Maybe they should. Well, we're going to see. But Foles seems to spread it around. I've always said that anytime Darren Sproles is in the lineup, it just makes shit so much harder on the defense. Sproles, even at the age of 87, man, is he still fast as shit. Man, is he still hard to contain. Man, is Darren Sproles a damn good football player. And it just seems like he just makes a huge difference in that backfield. He makes it easier for guys like Wendell Smallwood and Josh Adams to make plays when they come in the game. It's a nice change of pace. So all of a sudden now the offense playing much more confident football. I'll call it that. Much more confident ball with Nicholas Foles at the helm. And then the defense tonight, I thought they were outstanding. You know, especially for the secondary being as banged up as they are. Michael Bennett has been great for you. Who thought he wouldn't be? I thought that of all the acquisitions in the offseason, he was the one that was a true difference maker. You know, Nada was nice, and all the other stuff that they were doing was window dressing. That was cute. I said, man, Michael Bennett still has a lot of juice left. There's a lot of gas left in that tank. And you're seeing that. He's a problem up front. Fletcher Cox has always been a problem. He's continuing to play ball. And all of a sudden now, Eagles creating turnovers, getting to the opposing team's quarterback. They're stopping the run a little bit better. And I don't know, man. I don't know. 7-7, Texans at home next week. All of a sudden, that's a massive game. Texans looking to hold on to the number 2 spot. It's crazy. Everything's setting up to be massive matchups next week. You know, just a week ago, a lot of these matchups looked like they weren't going to have any juice whatsoever. You know, that Titans-Redskins game looked like absolute straight garbage juice. All of a sudden now, that's got huge playoff ramifications to it on Saturday afternoon. The night game of Chargers-Ravens, man, is that going to be a whale of a football game. Remember, last week I sat and I told you I guaranteed the Steelers would beat the Patriots. A lot of you looked at me out of the side of your eyes like, this dude Louie T, man. This dude's a dumbass. I told you last week, I said the Chargers are going to lose to the Ravens. I've not backed off of that. The Ravens are going to go to L.A. and beat them on Saturday night. That's going to be a hell of a football game. Now, all of a sudden, that Texans-Eagles game next week, massive matchup. Now that Cowboys-Bucks game, that's got some juice to it. All of a sudden now, a lot of these games that looked a little sketchy, they have meaning now. Eagles are right there. And they're one of those teams that if they get in, nobody wants any parts of this football team. Now, I don't think they get in and they do damage. They can't beat the Saints in New Orleans. But not many teams in the NFC can. Okay? But what's stopping them from going to, say, Dallas for the 3rd time this year, saying, you know what? 3rd time's the charm. We're going to beat the Cowboys this time. What's stopping them from saying, you know what? We're going to go to Chicago, cold as shit, get to Mitchell Trubisky, those same 3 interceptions he threw versus the Rams, we're going to actually take those, turn them into points, and beat the Chicago Bears. What's saying that they can't do that? Look, I'm not saying. I'm just saying, don't count a champion out until they're down and out. Eagles, I made the mistake. I'm guilty. I told you when I'm right, you're going to know I'm right. But when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Man, I put these Eagles on the damn canvas a couple weeks back, man. Get your ass 9, 10. This shit's over. No. Eagles got up, standing 8 count. They up. Like, hey, wait, man, I'm good. Bell rung. They went back to the corner, got some water splashed on their face. They came out swinging against the Rams. Man, they're here to fight again next week against the Texans. They're not dead yet. They're not dead yet. And with Nicholas Foles at quarterback, man, I'm going to continue to disrespect the Eagles with Nicholas Foles, but it's about time. Look, I encourage you not to disrespect them. Don't do what I do. Don't be like me, be better than me. Okay? That's what I tell the young youth out there. That's what I tell the kids. Don't be like me, be better than me. Don't be like T, be better than me. Don't disrespect the Eagles like I disrespect them. All right? Don't be like me, be better than me. I counted these guys out long ago. And by the looks of tonight, they are not dead yet. Big win for the Eagles, man. Big win. Vontae Maddox played his ass off. I've always liked Rasul Douglas. He played his ass off. And they continue to get production out of their front seven. It can be spotty at times, but they continue to get production out of Grugier Hill and all of these other guys in that front seven. Nigel Bradham and company. They're hanging in there, man. They're hanging in there. And the Eagles, I'm talking about the wild card. They're not out of the NFC East, man. That Cowboys slip up today, massive. NFC East, still wide open. And remember, the Eagles' divisional record is still good. It's not great with that loss to the Cowboys, but it's still got a chance to be 4-2. And if the Eagles slip to the Giants in Week 17, who knows? Eagles run the table. Cowboys lose again in Week 17. You're looking at the Eagles potentially as the NFC East champions. I don't know what the tiebreaker ramifications are with both teams finishing up 9-7 with a 4-2 divisional mark. I don't know what it is. I'd have to look at that and see. But Eagles have a shot. Eagles have a shot. Big win, 30-23 over the Rams to get back to 500 at 7-7. Meanwhile, for the Rams, it's a tough, bitter pill to swallow because you're not only in danger of missing out on the number 1 seed, you're now in danger of missing out on the number 2 seed if you're not careful. The Bears are not playing around, man. They're not effing around, man. They're 10-4. They're not playing. You're now 11-3. You're not out of the woods yet. You're not out of the woods yet. And they beat you. So if you finish tied with the Bears, they hold the tiebreaker. So we're going to see. You're not dead for the number 1 seed, though. It's crazy. I told you. It's a week-to-week league. I tell you this all the time. The Saints could lose on Monday night to the Panthers tomorrow, and you could be right back in the thick of things. And then all of a sudden, not only are you looking over your shoulder, but the Saints are looking over their shoulder like, hey, if we F around, the Bears could leapfrog both of us. Shit's getting really interesting. At one point, I looked at the Week 17 slate, and I was like, man, Saints may not need that game. Rams may not need that game. Bears may not need that game. What if we need the Vikings to lose? Bears don't need it in Week 17. All of a sudden now, Bears are looking like, bruh, I want a bye week. I want the number 1 seed. I want teams to have to come through Soldier Field. We trying to get in the club dub. Turn it up. No, seriously. I mean, turn it up. So, we'll see what happens. But let's get to the comments. Talked enough. Let's get to what you guys have to say. Remember, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And use the hashtag LouieTLive if you want your comment to be read, if it is pertinent. I'll skim through these comments and get to as many of them as I can get to. So, let's see what you guys have to say. All right, Chuck Sharp says, you think Philly can get a wild card spot. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Anything's possible. They're right there. I can tell you this much. Their chances of making the playoffs got a lot better with the Seahawks not taking care of business. Now it's a two-way go. They don't just need the Minnesota Vikings to slip up. Now the Vikings or the Seahawks could slip up. Remember, the Seahawks still got the Chiefs next week. And now that Week 17 game versus the Cardinals, albeit it's at home and it's the Cardinals, still not a guarantee after they went to San Francisco and threw up all over themselves. But bottom line is, the Eagles, not only are they in the run in the hunt for a wild card, they're still in the hunt for a division crown, which is crazy enough. Colts fan says, how about them Colts? Indeed. How about that shutout? Colts fan says, I'm telling you, the Steelers or the Ravens will lose next week, and we will be in prime position for the wild card. The Ravens, I think, are going to win. The Steelers may be the team that loses next week, but I told you the Steelers are going to win. It wouldn't shock me if the Steelers went to New Orleans and won next week too. Like, this is the type of shit that happens in the NFL. When you least expect it, you get the unexpected. All right? So, let's see. Colts fan says, could also use some help from your team against the Titans next week. Hey, look, I'm going to do what I can, but don't look for me to help you do nothing. I'm going to tell you right now, take care of your own shit, because we will get our ass spanked next week like it's nothing. We could be competitive as hell next week, or we could lose 31-3 next week. Either thing could happen. Either way, I don't anticipate a Redskins win, so don't look to us for any kind of help. Take care of your own business. Reese says, you called it, Lou. New England loses 2 in a row. I tried to warn y'all last week. I said, these are not the Patriots that you're accustomed to seeing. All right? This is not the same B&B winning factory. That shit is about to come to an end. Like, normally, you know how I tell y'all are crazy. We've seen this movie before. Don't dismiss the Patriots. We've been here before. They're fine. That's not what this is. Now, Brady's still playing at a high level, and they're still capable of beating anybody in the AFC. But this isn't the same. They're making uncharacteristic mistakes that we're not accustomed to seeing them make. I told you that last week. That was before Brady threw a back-breaking pick down by the end zone. Foolishly. Similar to what Russell Wilson did last week when the commentators called him stupid and every other name in the book. Or excuse me, they didn't call him stupid. They called the play that he made boneheaded and dumb. Same shit Tom Brady did. Pressure makes you do stupid shit, though. I got Munson says, never thought I would see an Eagles game where Ertz not get 30 targets, regardless of who is at QB. Mistake by Gurley not getting out of bounds. Rams have family business the rest of the schedule. That family business all of a sudden got a lot tougher, man. The 49ers, they are not a pushover, dude. They are playing with that same level of confidence they had last year at the end of the season when they won all those games and everybody was like, yo, watch out for the 49ers next year. They're doing the same shit right now. Same shit. Different quarterback, different toilet, but it's the same shit. They're a scary group right now. Home, away, they really don't give a damn. 49ers are legit right now. So, look out. Yeah, big mistake by Gurley not getting out of bounds, but, I mean, it is what it is. You know, shit happens. Chuck Sharp says, Week 17 Eagles versus Redskins might be for the 6th seed. It's possible that a lot of things would have to happen for that particular game to be a win and end scenario. Like, Seahawks would have to really self-destruct, and the Vikings would have to lose a game, and both of those teams would have to win in Week 16 to set up a situation where if they win, they're in. All right? Right now, neither one of them control their own destiny. If the Seahawks win out, which is very possible for them because their remaining schedule, all of their games are at home, and you know how dangerous they are at home, and the Vikings, they got a winnable schedule the rest of the way as well. So, the only thing is, Week 17, they've got the Bears. But it's at home. So, it's a winnable game. But we'll see what happens. Atlas says, Rams are overrated. Facts. Also, an end of a Patriot era, and the Cowboys get shut out. A good week of football, if you ask me. Huh. Atlas, I'm surprised at you. What an upbeat comment. Gregory Lightbody. If the injuries didn't ruin the Redskins season, where would they be? I don't like to play that game. I don't like to play that game. Josh, I'm not talking to you, Josh. Hype Dude says, Redskins win seemed to come from another team tipping the ball to give us a win, and as in Dallas versus Eagles. LOL. Shit happens, man. Like I said, right time, right place. You guys are some super trolls of late. Kurt Menefee. Rams will be one and done in the playoffs again, LOL. That may be true. I think they've gotten some experience under their belt. Like, they won't be one and done because the moment is too big for them. They might be one and done because they're just not good enough. There's a stark contrast to where they were this time last year, just happy to be there. The young upstart team that no one expected to be there versus, hey, look, they've been dominant all year. They've fallen on some hard times of late. I'm still not sold that they can't right the ship offensively, but I think they got to get back to certain things to be the team that they once were this season. Let's see. Redskins fan says, why couldn't the Rams help us out, especially after that embarrassing loss to the Bears? Look, don't cry for help, all right? You want help, help yourself. I've said this too many times. When you get to the end of the year and you're crying and you're begging for other teams to help, you haven't done enough, all right? I don't want to hear about anybody crying about somebody else not doing their dirty work for them. You want to go to the playoffs? Do it yourself, all right? Win games yourself. Do enough yourself to get you in, all right? If you can't do that, you don't need to go, all right? If you get in because somebody helped you out, then it's Christmas time. It's the season of giving. Give thanks, keep it moving, and be thankful that you got an opportunity. But let's be honest with ourselves. The Redskins don't need to go anywhere, all right? There are other teams that are much more capable at this point of the season that aren't on their fourth quarterback, that doesn't have a defense with a bunch of holes in it. The Redskins are lucky to even be in the position that they're in because they played Jacksonville today. All right? So you Redskin fans out there that are running with that win and are excited, stop it. Stop it. Okay? Stop. Gregory Lightbody says, does this look like the Eagles from last season, and how far can they go? I'm not willing to say that this is the Eagles from last year. Obviously, the injuries that they have sustained this year make them less of a team to reckon with. But what they still have that you can't take away from them is that championship swag, that championship mentality that it takes to win this time of the year. They know what it takes to put that chip on your shoulder of being disrespected and ride it all the way to a championship. They know how to do that. So from that standpoint, they're very dangerous. But even if they were to make, let's just say they make a run, and let's just give them a wild card. Let's say Dallas holds on to the NFC East, and the Eagles get in because, let's say, the Vikings slip up, lose Week 17 to the Chicago Bears, and the Eagles win out. All right? Let's say they get in, and they get in as the 6th seed. They would most likely be playing either this Rams team again or the Bears. Either way, I don't see them winning that game. I don't see them beating the Rams again. I don't see them going to Chicago and winning, although both scenarios are possible where they win that game. They win that game, and then the following week they'd have to go to New Orleans to play the Saints. Return to the scene of that crime. And I don't see that outcome being any different than it was 3-4 weeks ago when they got their doors blown off. So the NFC divisional round, if they get in, excuse me, is as far as I see the Eagles going. If they get in. JP says, how do you feel about the Skins winning today? I already told you how I felt. Did you watch the R3, the Redskins Rapid React? And I already told you how I feel. And as far as Redskins getting a top 10 pick, bro, we've won 7 games. You're not getting a top 10 pick at 7-9. Where they do that at? You don't get a top 10 pick with winning 7 games. You got to win 6 or less. That top 10 pick is out the window, bro. Chuck Sharp says, you think the Cowboys will be one and done in the playoffs? Well, they have to make it to the playoffs first. So, they're not in yet. They're not in yet, but they're going to make it. And yeah, they could be one and done. Anything's possible. Anybody could be one and done. That's the beauty of the NFL format. They could be one and done. The Rams, who have been dominant this year, could get in and be one and done. Anything's possible. Chuck Sharks also says, next Saturday games are pretty much playoff games. Exactly. Excuse me. Exactly. Exactly the case. JP says, I still want Bruce and Jay fired even though we won. The more we win, the less likely it is those guys go anywhere. FBG Tony says, wow, the Rams have officially been exposed. No cap, they won't make it far come postseason. He says, we'll see. Redskins fan says, great day to be a Skins fan until 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I mean, that game really didn't have that much of an impact on the Redskins' playoff hopes. This is the only thing that it did. It essentially made the Eagles' Week 17 matchup less of a dead non-factor for them. You know, if you really wanted the Eagles dead by Week 17 to the point where they didn't care about that game, which would have given the Redskins a better opportunity of winning, then you needed them to lose this game, lose next week against Houston, and then at that point, they're showing up dead duck, dead man walking. Hey, let's pack up the U-Haul truck, and you're hoping the Redskins could just skate by and get a dub. But they're going to come with something on the line most likely in Week 17. And so they're probably going to be able to beat us at that point. But Cloud says, why couldn't Doug and Mike grow trash-ass play calls like the ones we've seen tonight for an injured Wentz? I don't know. I don't know. That's a million. And how do you know they didn't call some of the things and then Wentz just said, I'm throwing it to Ertz anyway? You know, because there are some situations where we all know that the ball would have went to Ertz if Wentz were in the lineup instead of going to Alshon Jeffrey. You know, but I can tell you it did look a little different tonight. But again, the guy pulling the strings, the guy throwing the football is the reason I think it looked a lot different, to be honest. Kevin says, how far would the Packers go next year if they do good in the draft? It's really hard to say. Really hard to say. It's not time to start looking at the draft. You know, for teams that are out of it, it's impossible to say what's going to happen. For the Packers, it all starts with who do you hire as a new head coach? That's the first priority for the Packers this offseason. Who's your new head coach? Who are you marrying with Aaron Rodgers for the remainder of his career? That's a big, big, big issue. You need to solve that first and foremost before you start talking about the draft and free agency and all of those things. JP says, Bears won the NFC North and sent the Packers home for the season. I told anybody who would listen those Bears were for real. You did. I was flat out wrong about the Bears this season. Cloud says, especially running the ball, that would have helped us a lot early in the season. Sproles makes a difference, and Sproles wasn't available after week 1. I'm telling you, Sproles makes so much of a difference in the running game. You can get so creative with him. It changes everything with Sproles in the lineup. Black Al B says, what it do, Lou? The yams are starting to fall to earth. Shaking my head. The yams. Cloud says, you know damn well. I don't know damn well. JP says, do you think the current Rams offense is better than the greatest show on turf? No, I don't. Reese says, you told me to wait 2 weeks, Lou. It's been 2 weeks. Who's getting fired and how many coaches get fired in total? Reed, obviously you haven't been listening to my podcast. I talked about that on my podcast. So if you want to know who I think is going to be fired, I told you to wait 2 weeks because I wanted to let things play out, and then I'd give you that information. Well, I did it on the podcast last week. So it's there for you and everyone else that wants to listen. And for your enjoyment, it's there. You want it, it's there to be had. Go get it. JP says, off subject, did you hear the Redskins and Nationals were involved? No, I did not. With safety code violations in their nasty stadium food. I don't doubt that one bit. But no, I had no idea at all, actually. Reese says, the NFL season in particular has been one of the most entertaining seasons in a good while. It actually has. It's amazing how far we've come from the beginning of the season where the NFL had all these issues with the national anthem being a cloud over their head at the beginning of the season, declining ratings, which I wasn't a big buyer into. And, yeah, man, look at where the league is now. I mean, The ratings are up. They're through the roof. These games have been wildly entertaining, and we have no idea who's going to do what in either conference right now, other than the fact that the Chiefs are probably going to be the number 1 seed, and the Chargers have already clinched a playoff berth. But we still don't even know if the Chiefs are going to be the number 1 seed because the Chargers beat them last week, and that thing is all haywire. So the league has so much intrigue right now in both conferences. I agree with you. This has been a really entertaining season for sure. Vincent Coe says, the Bengals basically the Joe Mixon show right now. Like you said on your podcast, the boy is really good. Do you see any top 5 potential next season? I'm going to tell you right now, man, Joe Mixon is a stud, dude. Man, is he good. I can't wait to watch that game because on my podcast, you know who else I was talking about. And I can't wait to watch him and see how he played against the Raiders. So, but Joe Mixon is ridiculous, man. I know I caught the back end of that Raiders game. Alex Erickson with another stupid return. That guy is so good as a return man in this league. And I saw Mixon run for his second touchdown of the game to pretty much put that thing out of reach. Joe Mixon he's the man in Cincinnati for sure. Vincent Coe says, what the hell was that with my Seahawks? Dumbass L. I know it's family business, but really, bruh, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell. I can't wait to watch because the 49ers have been playing confident football the last 3 weeks. Even the loss that they had a couple of weeks ago was still a team that played with a little bit of confidence. They're scary right now, are the San Francisco 49ers. They're a really scary team right now. Hype Dude says, so who do you have in what positions for the playoffs after this week's crazy games? I'll definitely break that down on my podcast. That's what the podcast is for. The 20th Mike says, how Foles play better than Wentz? Guess he knows how to do his job as a backup. I really don't know. It's just crazy how this offense looks so much more cohesive with him in the lineup. Black LB says, I'm going to need you to start praising Nick Foles. He seems to do good when you diss him. LOL. Maybe I do need to stop disrespecting him because I don't know. Nicholas Foles is playing out of his brains, throwing shit up for grabs, and guys in his colored jersey seem to come down with it. Stands for that one pick. I don't know, man. I don't know. Mark Block says, you can't disrespect Nick Foles. He's a Super Bowl champ. Not only is he a Super Bowl champ, he's a Super Bowl MVP. All right? Put some respect on that man's name. That's probably what I need to do. RG3 hashtag says, Goff is a bum. Sean McVay made his ass good. Say what you want. Jared Goff is a quality NFL quarterback. Just like any other quarterback in this league, you put pressure on him, he will make mistakes. But when he's got time, we've seen him carve up NFL defenses this year. He was one of the fastest quarterbacks this season to 3,000 yards passing. He's going to eclipse 4,500 yards passing most likely this season. Bottom line is, you say what you want about him. Yeah, McVay made him better, but in order for McVay to get the most out of him, he needed to be talented. And that, Jared Goff definitely is. JP says, the Pats lost to the Steelers today. Is this the official end of the Brady and Patriots dynasty? Not officially the end. It's not officially the end until they don't make it to the AFC Championship game. And even then, I want to see them not make it 2 years in a row. That's when we can officially start putting dirt on the B&B winning factory. But first, somebody's got to stop them from making the AFC Championship game. They've been 7 times in a row. All right. Until that happens, I'm not willing to put these boys down yet. Enrique Valencia says, Darius Leonard for Defensive Player of the Year. For me, he's having the best rookie linebacker season of all time. He's playing out of his brains, but he's not winning Defensive Player of the Year. He's not doing that, okay? He's not even a lock to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I had a discussion about that on my podcast. Okay, you said I meant Defensive Rookie of the Year. You cleaned that up. Okay. He's definitely in the running for that, for sure. I think right now, I really feel like it's a 3-horse race for that award. Really 2, him and Chubb. But I talked about it on my podcast. Kevin says, he said, I'm just going to be real. Jared Goff and Mitchell Trubisky are not good. I'm not willing to say that. I'm not willing to go there. Buffalo pregame says, I guess the Panthers are going to win tomorrow given these primetime upsets. That's what it feels like. But remember, that's family business, number one. Number two, the Panthers generally play well against the Saints at home. And number three, the Saints haven't been playing great football of late. So if they do win, I wouldn't be that shocked. I really wouldn't be. This one was a shock to me. I did not expect the Eagles to go on the road and beat the Rams. If the Saints lost to the Panthers at Carolina, that wouldn't really move me that much because A, that's family business, and B, the Saints haven't played that well, and the Panthers are capable. They're capable. Marcus JTV says, should have beat them. Too many costly turnovers. Had a chance to get the first round bye tonight, but missed the opportunity tonight. Yeah, you did. You definitely missed a golden opportunity against a really hampered and banged up Eagles football team. Too many mistakes. Viral 504 News says, bingo. Buffalo pregame says the Lions dared to rush to and get the Josh Allen to win by throwing. That's what you got to do. You got to force him to throw the football. I can't wait to watch that game. It was 14-13. Vincent Cole says, I know Derwin been balling this season. How is Minka's season so far? Since they were the top safeties during the draft. Minka's had his ups and downs this year. He had a pick six versus Kirk Cousins today, but Minka's season has been up and down. He's had times where he's looked outstanding. He's had times where he's gotten beat. But they're asking him to play a lot of man-to-man. They're asking him to do a lot of things that some of these other safeties aren't being asked to do. And so there's been a lot more put on his shoulders than some of these other safeties that were drafted in the 2018 NFL draft. So I think he's been really solid for them. Buffalo pregame says, I'm giving you credit. You were right about your prediction of the Steelers beating the Patriots. Good job. Is this the end of the dynasty? Not quite. Not quite. I wouldn't put them to sleep. I'm just telling you, they're not the same Patriots. They're not the same Patriots that were, and I told you that last week. And I told you that earlier in the season when they were making uncharacteristic mistakes. That Miami game was a sign of things to come. Like, they don't make those kinds of mistakes. They don't lose those types of games. John Perez says, am I the only one who's rooting for the Bears to win the Super Bowl even though they're not my team? Maybe. Maybe not. JP also says, off subject, are you going to tell the story of how you became a Grizzlies fan on your podcast? Maybe one day I will. Yeah, maybe one day I will. For anybody that actually cares. Reby says, Sproles is 87 now. The East is tight. Very interesting during a stretch coming up. She said, very interesting during this stretch coming up. You're right. I mean, it's crazy how tight things have gotten in just a week. Last week, this time, the Cowboys looked like the runaway favorite in the NFC East to clinch that division. The Eagles looked like they were dead, so did the Redskins. You fast forward 1 week, the Cowboys don't score a single point. They get dismantled. The Eagles go on the road and beat the Rams in improbable fashion. And the Redskins somehow squeak by Jacksonville with their fourth-string quarterback. Shit just got real. Shit just got real. Yikes. Bjorn Charlie says, crazy fan idea. Rodgers should be asked to be released and signed with the Raiders. Even if he begged to be released, he wasn't getting released. Cloud says, Smallwood is trash, bro. That's what I was saying. LOL. You always say that, but yet Wendell Smallwood always seems to play for you down the stretch. Maybe you're doing the same thing I'm doing with Nicholas Foles and it's working to your benefit. So keep calling Wendell Smallwood trash. He keeps scoring 2 touchdowns for you and helping you win. Reese says, is Vic Fangio a future head coach? He's a leader of men, and that's more important than X's and O's. Look, man. Vic Fangio has always been a guy that I've liked. But he's never been in consideration seriously for a head coaching job since the peak of the 49ers days when he was masterminding that defense with Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman and Justin Smith and Aldon Smith. He hasn't really been a head coach commodity. I don't know if people think he's too old or what, but you never hear Vic Fangio's name. And maybe he's comfortable being a DC. Maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach. I don't know. But he's never really gotten an opportunity to be a head coach. Maybe he does want to be a coach and he never really has gotten the opportunity. I don't know. It's a really good question, Reed, because one thing I know about Vic Fangio, wherever he goes, really good defensive products follow. And it's not a coincidence that wherever he goes, teams have a hard-nosed identity about them that generally translates into wins from a defensive standpoint. I really like Vic Fangio. I'm anxious to see what happens with him. But not only are we out of comments, we're actually out of time. So that was perfect timing on a night where the Eagles had perfect timing to show up, force a couple of turnovers, and get out of L.A. with a win, 30-23 over the Los Angeles Rams to keep their season alive at 7-7. Meanwhile, for the Rams, a golden opportunity gone by the wayside as they drop to 11-3 with a golden opportunity to improve to 12-2 to put themselves in the driver's seat for the number 1 overall seed, especially with the Panthers at home versus the Saints. It's not out of the realm of possibility to think that the Panthers could win next on Monday night and drop the Saints. This is a great opportunity for the Rams to really stake their claim as the best team in the NFC. Now they're hanging on to that first round bye, not the number 1 spot, the first round bye. They're hanging on to that, clinging to it for dear life. Now they've got some winnable games left in the division versus San Francisco and Arizona to finish up. They can't afford another misstep. I doubt that they will, but we'll see what happens. Big win for the Eagles. They've just made things extremely interesting, not just in the wild card at 7-7, just a half game out behind the Vikings and a game out behind the Seahawks, but now they've made things incredibly interesting in the NFC East, just a game behind the 8-6 Dallas Cowboys. I'm your man, Louie T. Remember, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network, like this video, share it, and remember, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Saints and Panthers on Monday Night Football overtime. And remember, also be on the lookout for a lockdown coverage. All games, non-primetime, non-Redskins, coming at you. Breakdown tomorrow. I'll have it for you in podcast form, so be on the lookout for that as well. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Take care.
Louie T Network.